There's an infinite amount of cash at the there's an infinite amount of cash at the Federal Reserve. There's an infinite amount of cash at the Federal Reserve.
Good morning, Bitcoin. Today is May 7th, 2020. My name is Thomas Hunt, and this is the World Crypto Network. The price of Bitcoin is up 2.79% in the last 24 hours, with a last of 9,536, a high of 9,630, and a low of $9,029. Volume was way up, with 11,777 Bitcoins traded. Margin longs continued to lead the day with 78% of the market heading that direction. The halving is getting closer and closer, now showing on May 11th at 3:40 p.m., just 627 blocks away. We're joined by Dan. Say hi, Dan.
Hey, dude, how's it going?
It's going good, but we've got to start out with a big, long reading. But I just wanted people to know that Dan was here. And we're going to take phone calls today after we do a big, long reading, maybe some news. We're going to take some phone calls. We're going to get the chat going. It's all happening right here. So give us a thumbs up and a share, or give us a thumbs down and don't share. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, thumbs down actually isn't it? That's the correct way to go, right? But
it's interesting in Roman times they didn't have thumbs down. It was thumbs sideways that was bad.
Yeah,
thumbs up was still good. Thumbs sideways, or just closing your thumb, like bringing your thumb back in. That's why it's so funny to see that movie Gladiator. I think he uses the thumbs up, and it's like, that's anachronistic. You may as well have a wristwatch or a digital clock. So, but we're gonna start off today with a reading from this great book that I've been reading. It's called Man's Search for Meaning. It's a 1946 book by Viktor Frankl, chronicling his experiences as a prisoner in Nazi concentration camps during World War II. It's a great book, as the Wikipedia article mentions. It's on a number of top 10 most influential books in the United States, and the book has been translated to more than 24 languages and sold 10 million copies. Here's just a little bit from Man's Search for Meaning. As we said before, any attempt to restore a man's inner strength in the camp had to first succeed in showing him some future goal. Nietzsche's words, "He who has a why to live can bear with almost any how," could be the guiding motto for all psychotherapy and psychohygienic efforts regarding prisoners. Whenever there was an opportunity for it, one had to give them a why, an aim for their lives, in order to strengthen them to bear the terrible how of their existence. Woe to him who saw no more sense in his life, no aim, no purpose, and therefore no point in carrying on. He was soon lost. The typical reply with which such a man rejected all encouraging arguments was, "I have nothing to expect from life anymore." What sort of answer can one give to that? What was really needed was a fundamental change in our attitude towards life. We had to learn ourselves, and furthermore, we had to teach the despairing men that it did not matter what we expected from life, but rather what life expected from us. We needed to stop asking about the meaning of life, and instead think of ourselves as those who are being questioned by life, daily and hourly. Our answer must consist not in talk and meditation, but in right action and right conduct. Life ultimately means taking the responsibility to find the right answer to its problems and to fill the tasks which it constantly sets for each individual. When a man finds that it is his destiny to suffer, he will have to accept his suffering as his task, his single and unique task. He will have to acknowledge the fact that even in suffering, he is unique and alone in the universe. No one can relieve him of his suffering or suffer in his place. His unique opportunity lies in the way which he bears his burden. I'm skipping ahead a little around here. Reiki spoke of getting through suffering, as others would talk of getting through work. There was plenty of suffering for us to get through. Therefore, it was necessary to face up to the full amount of suffering, trying to keep moments of weakness and furtive tears to a minimum. Skipping ahead again. At one point, a few days previous, a semi-starved prisoner had broken into the potato store to steal a few pounds of potatoes. The theft had been discovered, and some prisoners had recognized the burglar. When the camp authorities heard about it, they ordered that the guilty man be given up to them, or the whole camp would starve for a day. Naturally, the 2,500 men preferred to fast. I think it's just an important story. It's something worth reading. I mean, there's a little more, but I don't think I'm going to read it. But this part here, I think, is very important. That a prisoner was captured trying to steal potatoes. So he had broken the law. He was committing a crime, and he very clearly could get the rest of them in trouble. He was probably hungry. And what he says is, they asked for the guilty man to be given up to them, or the whole camp would starve for a day. This is kind of us right now. We're giving up the weak man. We're giving up the people willing to go outside. We're giving up the postal carriers and the food reshelvers and the nurses and the doctors and the people on the front line of this thing. We could just starve for a day, it says. We don't have to give these people up. We could fast. We could not eat. In our case, we could just stay home and watch endless YouTube videos. But we've got to get out there. We've got to reopen.
Yeah, we've definitely got it a lot easier than they had it back then.
We really do. And it's only been a few months. And we can look at what we've actually done. Somewhere here I have this chart. This is from COVID-19 Canadian Emotional Support Troll. And he shows how truly half-assed the American efforts have. Look at our changes in workplace activity. Sure, it went down. There's a big decline. But as we can see here, just a few days later, it's already found a bottom, and it's already going back up. That's a 7-day average in workplace activity. Transit stations, change in activity, 7-day average. We can see that it goes down, but we can see that it does not go away, and that it does go right back up. Grocery and pharmacy, change in activity, 7-day average. We can see that it goes down, but it goes back up. You wonder why it's still out there. You wonder why it's still spreading. People aren't staying home. People aren't taking this seriously. And now we're going to reopen. Just before the show, I was showing Dan this chart of daily new cases in the United States. And remember, flatten the curve is only the first part. The second part is that the curve goes down. We only flatten the curve because the medical system can't handle anymore, right? We're trying to keep it under the medical system. Once we do that, it goes back down. Then we reopen. Let me show you a chart of South Korea. South Korea had their first case on the same day as the United States. We can see that South Korea has an up. They have the up part here. They have a flat part here. And then they have the decline, where their daily tests right now, 6 people, 8 people, 9 people. Hardly anyone is getting a new case in South Korea, even if these numbers are a week old. These numbers are likely a week old. But if we look at the U.S., it's not going down. It's not completely gone. It's clearly still out there.
The US is huge, though, right? So like
we've
South
got
Korea
that.
geographically is a lot smaller. So if you treating them like individual states and saying, right, this is like an individual unit, you're kind of okay. It's not broken out yet.
Well, the states actually don't have, with the exception of Alaska and Hawaii, they don't have any geographical borders between them. Maybe they have a river, but they don't have any hard borders either. So it's not like they're really cut off. Like where we could say Czech Republic had 0 cases and closed their borders. That's a win. They're set. All they have to do is keep their borders closed. Unfortunately, they're taking in food and they're outputting goods and so on and so forth. So there's always a chance of infection, even into a clean environment like that. But no, our states don't have any kind of borders. They don't have any kind of stops. There was been no testing at the airports. There's this whole dream that we were testing people. I had family members come back from other countries, not tested at all, walked right through. And again,
Yeah,
it's just
because
not
like
going to
when
work.
I left LAX in what 22nd of February or something, we were reading that actually it was when we passed through. We heard that someone from LAX had, or two of the baggage staff, I think, or staff at LAX, and then two at Heathrow where we landed. So we read up on it, and you know they were claiming that there was a lot of screening going on, but we didn't kind of see any of it when we went through. There was none. In fact, couldn't see anyone with sort of hazmats or
Well,
any, or not
and
even just hazmats,
we
but
would know
like
if they were
doing a
screening
cleaning
because
job.
there unfortunately there'd be huge lines. We're not very efficient at this. I know at one point they did
Yeah.
try to screen people and they locked them in a big area and they were all standing right next to each other. And if any of them had it, they were coughing and giving it to the rest of them. And it made no sense. We know how other countries are doing this. We've seen this in Asian countries. You get off the airplane, you climb the steps down, and there's a row of people ready to start testing you. They take your temperature. They talk to you. They say, have you been in contact? They, you know, if they get the feeling you're coughing or whatever, you're instantly transferred into a quarantine zone. Then they keep you there till they have the test results. They keep you separate. They keep you segregated. That's how they won. That's how they beat the virus. And it's funny to see the U.S. still laughing about contact tracing. They're like, what do you mean? Somebody gets it and you ask them everyone that they met, and then you go talk to everyone that they met and see if they have it yet, right? It's not that complicated. It's detective work, right? In Iceland, they even tasked detectives to this task. They said, okay, you're a police officer. Normally you're tracking down crimes and things. Today you're tracking down this virus. And do you know how you beat this virus? Is you surround it and you separate it from humans and you stomp it out. And it spreads human to human, right? A human coughs, it's in the air for a little while. A human sneezes, touches something, it's on that surface for a little while. If no humans come in contact with no humans for a period of 14 days, this thing's gone, right? It's gone right down to the people who still have it, right? And we have them in hospitals. We have them in quarantines. That's how these Asian countries won. Like, they didn't win by imaginarily wishing it away and then going outside. They didn't get herd immunity. They stayed inside. We don't even know if herd immunity is going to work based upon the antibodies. Like, you could have gotten no herd immunity and just death. So
I heard a rumor that they used a combo of Lysol and I'm joking there. But yeah, no, they've actually got it smashed. And Normski's he's in South Korea right now, so he can probably attest to how well it's wrapped up. But yeah, the track and trace thing. I mean, they're the sort of laws over there. Everyone's a bit more, and the way they are to government, it's a bit more kind of open to, you know, their data kind of being shared. It seems, whereas you know here it's hugely the idea of it. Even in the UK, it's like you know it's got people up in arms infringing on the rights and you know data protection act. In fact, we can't even like submit to certain areas with the stats in the UK because of GDPR laws. So yeah, that's actually hindering the rollout of a track and trace where we are. It's all a bit crazy.
it's pretty bad. And they just released this chart yesterday showing that New York City appears to be in decline. So the largest outbreak in the US, the largest cases, all the numbers are in decline. So if you do look at some US charts, you could get the idea that we flattened or declining. But if you actually separate New York City from the rest of the United States, we can see a little bit of a top here and a plateau. Then we can see a second top and a continued rise. You don't have to be a chart reader to say which way this is going. This one's going up. And this right here, this flattened part, this is everybody staying inside. This is everybody taking a huge sacrifice trying to fix this thing, staying inside. And what are we trading it for? We could stay inside for just a few more weeks or a month, and it might start to dip down, right? And we would see victory. And once we saw victory, you know, let's go outside. I'm not saying no one's going to die ever. I mean, we're not talking that here. But what we are saying is let's not be stupid, right? Let's not just run right back out in there when we can see from this chart, there are clearly daily new cases still. If there are daily new cases, that means the virus is out there and that it's spreading. We already know this is one of the greatest spreading viruses in history, maybe the greatest, right? We look at cases in South Korea, almost down to zero. South Korea, you're good to go. Reopen some businesses. You're going to have a small second outbreak. America, you're not good to go. Don't reopen businesses. Don't go to bowling alleys and hair salons. You need to get your hair done that bad? I love that Italian guy said, how is it going to look in the coffin? How is your hair going to look in the coffin? Who cares? Right? That's you.
But surely there's going to be, as we were saying before the show, that as we're chatting about it, that not everyone's going to rush out. There will be quite a rush, but we're still not going to see the same volumes. There's going to be a lot of people that are skeptical. They're still a bit fearful of going out. They're not going to use public transport. I think employers are going to be quite, hopefully quite understanding, because there's probably a lot on their responsibility around keeping the workplace safe. So in theory, it could be a nice, a relatively gentle approach, with people being clever.
The virality on this thing says that one person could spread it to 59,000 other people. So if everyone goes out, it seems pretty obvious that they're going to spread it like crazy, and that they're going to go down and they're going to go sick. And there's that 14-day asymptomatic period, right, where people don't show signs, but they do spread the disease. And that describes everyone going out. Everyone going out strong and confident. I'm not sick. I'm not wearing a mask. You're spreaders. Like, you're the spreaders. And you'll be like, oh, how did grandma get it? And you're like, oh, yeah, there were more spreaders, and they touched more food at the grocery store. And even though grandma stayed home, all those spreaders out there made sure that everything was touched with virus, and they got it, and more people got it. So no, it doesn't make any sense to go outside. We do have a positive article on this from McSweeney's. Sure, the velociraptors are still on the loose, but that's no reason not to reopen Jurassic Park. And
it would make things a lot more interesting.
Oh yeah, well that's what the guy says. I mean, as you're all aware, after an unprecedented storm hit the park, we lost power, and the velociraptors escaped in their enclosure and killed hundreds of park visitors, prompting a 2-month shutdown of the park. Well, I'm pleased to announce that even though the velociraptors are still on the loose, we will be reopening Jurassic Park to the public. Now, I understand why some people might be skeptical about reopening an amusement park when there are still blindingly fast 180-pound predators roaming around. But the fact of the matter is, velociraptors are intelligent, shifty creatures that are not going to be contained anytime soon, so we might as well just start getting them used to them killing a few people every now and then. Some might argue that we should follow the example of other parks that have successfully dealt with velociraptor escapes. But here at Jurassic Park, we've never been ones to listen to the recommendations of scientists, or safety experts, or bioethicists. So why should we start now? As some of you know, Dr. Ian Malcolm, our lead safety consultant, had recommended that we wait until the velociraptors have been located and contained before reopening the park. So he wasn't thrilled when we told him the news. I believe his exact words were, "You were so preoccupied over whether you could reopen the park, you didn't stop to think whether you should." Talk about a guy on a high horse. That said, you'll be pleased to know that rather than double down on our containment efforts, we've decided to dissolve the Velociraptor Containment Task Force altogether and focus instead on how we can get people back into the park as quickly as possible. So rather than concentrating on so-called life-saving measures like staying in designated safe areas or masking your scent, we'll be focusing on all the details that will get our customers really excited, like a wider selection of fun hats, a pterodactyl-shaped gondola ride to the top of the island, and a brand new Gordon Ramsay-designed menu at the Cretaceous Cafe. In addition to satisfying our customers, the decision to reopen the park is also about allowing the furloughed employees of Jurassic Park to get back to the work they love. Could we have continued to pay their salaries for several months until we got the Velociraptor situation under control? Definitely. We're the wealthiest nature preserve on the planet, after all. And will some of the employees returning to work have their limbs torn off and tossed into the air like a juggler tossing bowling pins? Undoubtedly. But we're confident with a few safety precautions put in place, we'll be able to keep the level of workplace injuries and deaths just below levels that would elicit widespread public outrage. And keeping things just below widespread public outrage is our gold standard for all of the decisions we make here at Jurassic Park. And speaking of injuries, I want to take a moment to thank our Jurassic Park EMTs. They're the real heroes, right? In the process of responding to the Velociraptor attacks, many of our EMTs get mauled and dismembered by the Velociraptors themselves. That's why, as a sign of appreciation, we'll be repainting the Jurassic Park ambulance with the words Hero Mobile in big bubble letters. We think this is a far more meaningful token of gratitude than the salary increase they requested. I know many of you out there are going to be hesitant to return to Jurassic Park, knowing that there are still velociraptors roaming the preserve. But rest assured, things will return to normal sooner rather than later. The life expectancy of a velociraptor is only 15 to 20 years, so we're confident that these attacks will eventually run their course. In the meantime, will more visitors die? Yes. Will more Jurassic Park staff die? Yes. But we know that their sacrifice will not be forgotten. We plan to erect a small plaque dedicated to all the Velociraptor attack victims in the far back corner of the gift shop, next to the t-shirts that say, "I survived a visit to Jurassic Park, and all I got was this lousy t-shirt." It's the least we could do. So pack your suitcases and get ready to be reacquainted with the newly reopened, and only slightly more dangerous, Jurassic Park. And remember, life finds a way, unless you're one of the unlucky ones that gets attacked by a velociraptor. Then you're probably screwed. So there we go. Great news from McSweeney's. They're reopening Jurassic Park. I hope that all of you will be there on the first day, ready to die at the velociraptors that we're just too busy to catch them all. We got to open now. We can't wait. Sure, velociraptors are still on the loose, but that's no reason not to reopen Jurassic Park.
It's a great comparison, but surely you can apply that to, say, the seasonal flu, for example.
No, you can't, Dan, because the seasonal flu doesn't spread in the same way, and it doesn't kill in the same way. So no, you can't. If you want to make a false analogy, you could compare it to the seasonal flu, and you'd be making a false analogy. Apples are not oranges.
I'm
Apples
making
are
an
not
analogy
oranges.
of something that's a threat that's spread by, air.
We didn't even try. We didn't even try. Come on. We're going to let a new 9/11 every day. We're having a new 9/11, 3,000 deaths every day. It's probably going to rise up to 2 9/11s a day. So yeah, it's just like the flu, man. Just like the flu. I remember when the flu rushed through that nursing home and 80% of the nursing home died. I was like, damn, that is some flu. But wait, it wasn't the flu. It was a virus called the coronavirus. No, it's different. According to David Wallace Wells, we have 1/25th of the testing we need, 1/25th of the contact tracers we need, and no sign of the sustained decline in infections or deaths we were told were a necessary precondition for the reopening anywhere. But we're now beginning, because there's no plan. There's no contact tracers. Zoom bought Keybase. Not sure why. Job losses are going up to 3.169 million versus 3.05 expected. We're starting to get near 20 to 30% of the U.S. population unemployed. That whole not going with saving the firm model seems like a really good idea. U.S. productivity dropped 2.5% in the first quarter, biggest drop since late 2015.
The thing about the jobs as well is that once life goes back to normal, there's probably going to be a cascade of businesses that fall after that, from things, basic things like supply chain failures and just not enough customers, etc.
Yeah, there's no demand.
That's probably going to boost a bit.
Well, that's what no one's really talking about. There's no demand. You can reopen this, and we're going to get to it. Balaji's got a great tweet on it. But you can reopen this, but no one's going outside except the idiots. The old people are staying in. The smart people are staying in. The idiots are going outside.
I don't know, man. Like the older people that I know, the older they are, the more they can't stand this, because they're not it seems like they're not used to being able to, immerse themselves on the internet and stuff as well. If, like my parents, for example, and they are literally busting to get out. And I know that about other people's parents too. Like, you have to beg them, like, just stay in, just for now. It's only a couple of weeks. Only 3 weeks, then 6 weeks.
It's sad that a lack of patience is going to lead to more deaths. It's very sad. But yes, people don't have patience. They don't have the strength to stay inside. They don't really understand the threat. They've been given different information. The true information to know is that it's brand new. It's brand new disease. That's what you need to know. We had a detailed guide in the United States to reopening the country, produced by the Center for Disease Control, and we're not going to release it. We're going to put it on a shelf. So all these experts made a document that tells you how to reopen the country. And of course, it doesn't say to reopen the country when it looks like this, right? That's not good. I mean, this is a little better. But yes, we have a great document, and we're not going to release it. This is an AP exclusive. We know this because reporters on the inside looked and they found the document. And speculation, why are we not releasing this document? Well, the guidelines say that the state should not reopen while their cases are increasing. The Trump administration wants states to reopen regardless. The White House does not want to be accountable, and the guidelines would make them so. So it's only a matter of time now before this document leaks. Its existence is already leaked to the AP. But yes, experts making positive and useful information and other people not releasing it. That's what's happening now. They had a playbook for the pandemic and they threw it away. There's a 69-page document released by the National Security Council. It's a binder. It's called How to Deal with a Nationwide Pandemic. And yeah, you're like, hey, I haven't thought about this a lot. You know, I was busy running elections and I was busy doing politics and I'm an economist or whatever, all these things. So what do? You take the binder off the shelf and you open it up and you read it and you do what it says, right? Because people who are smarter than you, had more time, took a lot of their time to make this binder to explain what you could do in a crisis. And when they thought about it, it wasn't a crisis. So they were prepared. They were preparing you. Then these Trump guys just left the binder on the shelf. Now we're seeing it happen a second time with the second 17-page AP document, the 17-page CDC document, opening up America. So
Surely they could have used the existing information and built on that. You know, if it was there, it's not like they metaphorically threw it away. They didn't literally throw away the only copy of it, and they're like, oh shoot, what have we done?
Well, yeah, the previous binder was just legitimately left on the shelf. They did not consult it, and the new document they're not releasing because they're afraid it will incriminate them because things are going to go so bad. This is a really unique time period that we're in, where we can see the train barreling down the tracks at us, right? And we're just standing there, and a lot of people are saying, that's not the light of a train, that's the sun. And then the other people are like, that's not the sun, that's the moon. And still other people are like, hey, maybe we should get off the tracks. You know, it seems like a train's coming towards us, or maybe the sun, maybe the moon, you know, maybe it's a UFO, but something's coming towards us really fast on these tracks. Maybe we should get out of the way. And they don't want to get out of the way. So they're just going to stand there and let the train mow them down. And the rest of us are going to just watch this in slow motion. And it's really sad. It's totally avoidable. Patience, strength, the ability to stay home, logic, the ability to read information and interpret it correctly. We don't have that anymore.
I did actually read today that New York, there were 24-day old, incubation period where someone was away, at home for 24 days, locked up, and then got coronavirus after that. So, and some of those had extremely limited sort of trips outside, if at all. So that is quite concerning. Could be through vents if they're in.
Anecdotal evidence is anecdotal evidence. For all we know, they were having an affair and they don't want to tell people about it, or they were sneaking out to get fucking heroin. They don't want to tell people about it. I mean, we don't know anything about these individual cases. If we had a significant study showing that people were still getting it while they're staying home, we'd have a significant study, and we just don't have that. So no, I don't know about that. I mean, individual cases are individual cases. A lot of people believe that they're being really safe and that they're staying 6 feet apart. But maybe, 6 feet was just an average. Sometimes it's 9, sometimes it's 3. Maybe the thing they picked up had the goo all over it and they rubbed it all over their face. Like, it's just, there's so many variables. What we do know is that your best chance the closest to zero chance that you can get of getting the virus is staying home, ordering delivery groceries, cleaning them with Lysol, setting them aside for 24 hours. There's whole videos on this. Don't just, listen to me, watch the whole video. And yes, staying safe, staying clean, staying inside. Yes, it's very difficult. I mean, we can play the CPG Gray video if you guys want, but I'm not sure that you're ready for it. You need to go watch it on your own first. We don't have a long-term strategic goal, they said this morning, one of the doctors. We have tactics. And this is why we're going to lose, right? A long-term strategic goal is how you win the war, right? We roll tanks into Berlin, we burn down the bunker, we get the dictator, right? That's how we win the war. A tactic is like, should we use airplanes or should we use tanks? Should we attack this place or that place? Like, how will these various tactical decisions lead to our overall strategic goal and our strategic victory? And it's sad because we don't have a strategic goal. We don't have a strategic victory. One of the first things they teach you in the great 7 Habits for Highly Effective People book is to begin with the end in mind. Begin with the end in mind. Well, what do we want? We want no more virus, right? We want to go back out into the world. We don't want to worry about getting sick. How do we get there? We don't have the foggiest idea. We haven't set up the capacity for test and trace. Like Wallace Wells was saying, 1/25th is ready. It's been like 3 months. So we don't have the capacity to test and trace. We don't have enough tests to really even know if people have it. We don't have a plan to surround the virus and stomp it out. Because of our lack of patience, because of our lack of planning, we're going to let this thing really get out of control. Even more so than it is already. Here's Balaji laying down that sweet, sweet logic. Balaji says, one problem with this logic is that the economy is other people. So if older people stay home, along with millions of cautious people, plus many tourists and business travelers, you don't actually get the economy back. Other countries have contained the virus. It's doable. It's not impossible. Like, we don't need to give up. We're giving up because the president has a lack of attention span. We're giving up because people aren't man enough to stay inside for more than 30 days. You're a bunch of cowards. You're weak. You're going to go out there and spread the infection to 59,000 other people individually, day after day after day after day, because you're weak, because you can't stay inside. Hey, let's check at Sweden. Remember Sweden? Everyone was like, Sweden's going to be great. They're going to get herd immunity. Sweden's virus death rate is 291 per million inhabitants. That's a per capita number. Norway's death rate was 40 per million. Denmark's death rate, 87 per million. Finland's death rate, 45 per million. So their death rate is 3 to 6 times higher than their neighbors because they did nothing. So get ready, US. Get ready. We're going to test this thing. We don't know anything about it. We don't even know these poor people in Sweden. Some of them got the antibodies. Some of them didn't get enough antibodies. So you're going to get sick again. You're a guinea pig twice. Just stay home. Don't be a guinea pig. It's not that hard. Hot zones shift, showing threat is far from over. Again, we're not ready to reopen. Like, yes, maybe we're ready to reopen parts of New York City because they had it really bad. Yes, South Korea is ready to reopen. They wore masks. They test and traced. They tracked it down. In South Korea, what they're saying at the time is not that they'd flattened the curve, but that they'd smashed the curve, right? This part here is the flattening. This part here, this diagonal down, that's the smashing. It's really simple how you do these things. We had SARS and bird flu. We had all these other ones in the past that weren't such a big deal because what they did is when someone got sick, they immediately took them aside. They said, who'd you have contact with? You know, it's not, we don't care about your business. We don't care about your stuff. We're trying to stop a disease here, right? This isn't political. Or who'd you have contact with? Oh, okay. They go pick up those people. They say, test them. Are they sick? Who'd you have contact with? They go find those people. They pick them up. They test them. If they're sick, they put them immediately into quarantine. They put them immediately into a side system where they try to heal them if they can. But the key is you separate the disease from society, you encircle it, and it goes away. If you don't do this, it spreads more. It doesn't care about your politics. It doesn't care about all this other nonsense. All the disease cares about is more hosts, right? And this is a particularly bad virus. It kills its host. So it's not even really that interested in surviving. It's more interested in spreading. And that's what we're going to do, is we're going to give it, it's like, virus, we got to give you your shot. You were number 2, Cougar and Merlin were number 1. They dropped out. Now you, virus, we're sending you to Miramar. We're sending you to Top Gun. Virus, you're going to battle it out with the elite, the best of the best, tip of the spear. So yeah,
I've just seen the Bitcoin prices hit 9,600.
Hey, it's good.
Could be a 10K today if it pumps like the other day.
Could be good.
Okay, it's just under. Man, $1 per 10,434 sats.
Yeah, it was 15,000 sats just a week or two ago. Big opportunity. Missed.
Dope. I hope you bought the dip. Did you buy the dip?
I don't have any money.
No one's got any money to buy the
I'm
dip.
hodling.
It's all institutions, probably. The institutions are coming.
Okay, here's
that,
another.
That article looks like it's from I thought it was from the Spanish flu. It looks like a kind of old typewriter. Was that actually recent?
Oh, yeah. Well, this is from the New York Times front page. For some reason, it showed me a graphic of the front page, so I took a screenshot of the article rather than showing me a web page for some reason. I don't know. But here's another chart from Balaji. This is how other countries beat COVID-19. Now, sadly, Dan and I and our pals in Sweden are in the upper right-hand corner where you see the red charts. So I want you to look first at the red charts, and I want you to understand, like I do, that these charts are flat, but they didn't go down, right? The second half of the flattening part is the going down. And if we look at these other countries, Vietnam, South Korea, New Zealand, Thailand, Australia, Norway, Austria, Greece, Jordan, Luxembourg, Slovenia, Iceland, Slovakia, Croatia, and Lebanon, we can all see that they're in a much better position to reopen because there's not that much virus out there. If you look at the U.S. numbers and you see how there's no downside, it's almost like it's missing here. You're like, where's that other leg? Like if we had that other leg, we could reopen, right? If we had that other leg, if I was in New Zealand or South Korea, sure, maybe I stay home. Maybe I'm overcautious, right? But I wouldn't be saying this. I wouldn't be saying that it's not safe for you to go out there and that you should just stay home and that this is basically, it's a big suckers rally. This is a big head fake. Like all the smart people know I'm just sharing it with you. I'm like a really nice person. Like I could just keep this to myself. It doesn't benefit me at all to try to save your life. So, but yeah, let's have a daily moment of remembrance for the people who died of COVID-19. I know that the president's not capable of this, and it's very sad. And whether they were old people or young people, whether you knew them or you didn't know them, let's have a small moment of silence for those who've passed from COVID-19. And specifically, let's also think to the future. And let's think about the people who are about to die from COVID-19. All right, just a little bit more from Viktor Frankl. So I began by mentioning the most trivial of comforts first. I said that even in this Europe of the 6th winter of the Second World War, our situation was not the most terrible we could think of. I said that each of us had to ask himself what irreplaceable losses he had suffered up till then. I speculated that for most of them, these losses had really been few. Whoever was still alive had reason for hope. Health, family, happiness, professional abilities, fortune, position in society. All these were things that could be achieved again or restored. After all, we still had our bones intact. Whatever we had gone through could still be an asset to us in the future. And I quoted again from Nietzsche, Was mich nicht umbringst, macht mich starker. That which does not kill me makes me stronger. Then I spoke about the future. I said that to the impartial, the future must seem hopeless. I agreed that each of us could guess for himself how small were his chances of survival. I told them that although there was still no typhus epidemic in the camp, I estimated that my own chances were about 1 in 20. But I also told them that in spite of this, I had no intention of losing hope and giving up. For no man knew what the future would bring, much less the next hour. Even if we could not expect any sensational military events in the next few days, who knew better than we, with our experience of camps, how great chances sometimes opened up, quite suddenly, at least for the individual. For instance, we might be attached unexpectedly to a special group with exceptionally good working conditions, for this was the kind of thing which constituted the luck of the prisoner. But I did not talk only about the future and the veil which was drawn over it. I also mentioned the past, all its joys, and how its light shone even in the present darkness. Again, I quoted a poet, to avoid sounding like a preacher myself, who had written, Was du erbst, kann keine Macht der Welt die rauben. What you have experienced, no power on earth can take from you. Not only our experiences, but all we had done, whatever great thoughts we may have had, and all we had suffered, all this is not lost. Though it is past, we have brought it into being. Having been is also a kind of being, and perhaps the surest kind. Then I spoke of the many opportunities of giving life a meaning. I told my comrades, who lay motionless, though occasionally a sigh could be heard, that human life, under any circumstances, never ceases to have a meaning, and that this infinite meaning of life includes suffering and dying, privation and death. I asked the poor creatures who listened to me attentively in the darkness of the hut to face up to the seriousness of our position. They must not lose hope, but should keep their courage in the certainty that the hopelessness of our struggle did not detract from its dignity and its meaning. I said that someone looks down on each of us in difficult hours, a friend, a wife, somebody alive or dead, or a god, and he would not expect us to disappoint him. He would hope to find us suffering proudly, not miserably, knowing how to die. And finally, I spoke of our sacrifice, which had meaning in every case. It was the nature of this sacrifice that it would appear pointless in the normal world, the world of material success. But in our reality, our sacrifice did have a meaning. Those of us who had any religious faith, I said frankly, could understand without difficulty. I told them of a comrade, on his arrival in camp, had tried to make a pact with heaven that his suffering and death should save the human being he loved from a painful end. For this man, suffering and death were meaningful. His was not a sacrifice of the deepest significance. He did not want to die for nothing. None of us wanted that. The purpose of my words was to find a full meaning in our life, then and there, in that hut, and in that practically hopeless situation. I saw that my efforts had been successful. When the electric bulb flared up again, I saw the miserable figures of my friends limping toward me to thank me with tears in their eyes. But I have to confess here that only too rarely I had the inner strength to make contact with my companions in suffering, and that I must have missed many opportunities for doing so. As Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning. And I think it's really powerful to imagine them there in the concentration camp, just working, slaving, terrible conditions. But that which does not kill them makes them stronger. And that their sacrifice does have meaning and that life does have meaning. I think it's really powerful right now as we're about to go through this thing and as we're about to watch our countrymen die for no reason. And we're going to watch people get sick for no reason. And it's a lack of planning. In January, we could have started the contact tracing plans. We could have had the programs ready. And maybe we wouldn't need them. And that'd be great. And we could have had all these other things ready. And instead, we're sending out body bags. There's a Native American reservation. They asked for help. They asked for medicine. They asked for ventilators. They asked for things. They sent them body bags. They sent them body bags. So don't lose hope. We're not dead yet. As Tracy says, so many of us stayed home for 2 months, an unprecedented act of solidarity, only for this administration to squander that time and double down on a plan that's a mix of every man for himself and die for your employer. It's very depressing.
I do think, though, for some people, it's a whole lot harder than others. And I think if my situation's lucky, you've got a reasonable house, garden. But think of some people who are in rented accommodation, probably thinking they've lost their job, and so they don't know how they're going to pay their rent when they come out of it, and they're kind of they're reaching out. They need to work, and that's why they're sort of freaking out about it. And not just that, they may be in a small place where they're sort of confined. So I do think although not everyone's crazy, some people are just desperate because the economy is going to have a big impact, and also the number of things like cancers that are going unfound. The average is, I think, the UK per week is like 4,000 new cancers found, and that is down to almost zero at the moment. So that's pretty scary, and that's just cancer.
Yeah, if you stop looking, you stop finding things. That's for sure. Oh well, there's two parts to that, and I talked about one of the parts yesterday. Like it or not, believe in it or not, be offended or not, in the United States and generally in the rest of the world, we have a Keynesian economic system. Like, yes, we like Bitcoin, and I'm interested in Austrian economics and all these things, right? I read a lot. But Keynesianism, which means in the time of crisis, the government prints money, right? This is a crisis. It's a time to print money. Now, it's sad to me that they've given the money out to these small businesses like Tron, who took $2 million from the government small business loans, yet paying around $5 million to have lunch with Warren Buffett. It's insane. Other large companies like Ruth Chris, Potbelly Sandwiches. Oh, what's the other one? I'm going to remember soon. I'm going to get them too. But yeah, they all took the money and they all gave it back because they feel so bad because they just stole from small businesses. But that's the general tone of the bailouts has been wrong. It hasn't bailed out the people directly. We talk about this a lot. We didn't do the Denmark model of keep the firm together, so people don't have jobs to go back to. If we had went to the employers straight up, and yes, this is going to take a lot of money.
There is an infinite amount of cash at the Federal Reserve.
But we got it, right? Yes, it's going to dilute the other money. There's going to be inflation eventually. But again, when you're in a crisis, you act like you're in a crisis. Like when I'm on a rowboat looking at the Titanic, yeah, maybe I'll go on another cruise again, but not on that boat. Not going back. You just don't go back to the sinking boat. So no, yes, we could print more money. We could save more people. And that's what you do. If we stayed home another 2 weeks or another month, we could get this thing done with, right? Off like a Band-Aid, off. Instead, what we're going to do, and again, it blows my mind. And I'm not the most patient person in the world. I'm not saying that I'm perfect or I've never gotten angry or upset or I've never had like, I want to do something now and blah, blah, blah. I want to go see the new Star Wars movie or whatever it is. I get anxious and all that stuff. But to see it at a national level, to see this kind of lack of patience and lack of control and lack of care about the other people, you're all just laughing it up. You're like, infecting 59,000 people is funny because I'm not going to know any of them. But then you watch, like your grandma or your best friend will get it. And then you'll be like, oh, one of those 59,000 people could have meant something to me. everyone's interconnected. Oh. So yeah, the money side, we just need to print more money. For the staying home side, yes, like you and I have a nice situation. I'm in a good sized track home. You know, it's Vegas. It's pretty good size. We have air conditioning, television, you know, movies, all kinds of stuff. So, but if you're in a less nice position, and in general, if you're just having problems with this,
season,
I really strongly suggest this 10-minute video by CPG Gray called Lockdown Productivity Spaceship U. I'm not sure if I want to play all of it, but the basic things he's talking about is things that I've been saying, that you're not just locked, you're not just working from home, right? Working from home is one thing. It's like you made a choice. The world's still there. If you want to go to 7-Eleven or something, it's fine, right? That's working from home. This is working from home during a pandemic. So it's a little different, and it's definitely more stressful. And what CPG Gray suggests is, regardless of the size of your apartment or whatever you got, your mission here, I thought I could get it, there is, your mission is pretty simple.
Return better than you left.
Return better than you left. So your mission is to return better than you left. And so what CPG Gray suggests is you kind of separate things into your physical and your mental. And there's things that improve your physical and things that improve your mental. He also suggests that you kind of separate your living space, your zone, into 4 different zones. Sleeping is one of the zones. He suggests not to read or eat in your sleep zone, that kind of thing. Workout is another one of your zones. Even if you just have a mat on the floor, you got to Google prison workouts. Sorry, but you're a prisoner now. And if you want to come out of jail looking better, you're going to have to do some push-ups and some sit-ups, and it's going to be hard at first, so start slow. But he also suggests that yes, you have access to all the videos in the world, right? It's fantastic. But the reality is, as he says, and you can play video games too. It's like he's looking over my shoulder or something here. But what he says later is, he says that what's going to happen, though, is that pretty soon you're going to have seen all the videos that you really like, all the videos that you really should be watching. They're going to be gone. And then you can just leave it on in the background, play video games, and ignore it. And that this is just not valuable. Like, you don't need to be doing this level of entertainment, right? So what he suggests is also having your entertainment station, where you do your books and you do your movies and whatever. And that's your recreation time. So you split it up into parts. And that the 4th station is your creative or your working station. And that, and you guys can go watch this video. He does it much better than I do. I'm trying to summarize. But yes, these are the 4 stations that you need to have, even in a small apartment. You can manage to create this even in a single room or a spaceship. And I think the spaceship metaphor is also really valuable, that we are all heroes, that we are all staying in our spaceships to not get other people sick. And if you're exiting your spaceship, it's not just about you. It's great to be selfish, but it doesn't work, because you're going to infect 59,000 other people. So yeah, I think there are alternatives. There are ways to live through this, but you've got to be mentally strong. You have to be prepared for this. I talked yesterday about the people of London during the Blitz, and there were 2 options. Go underground, sit on the floor, sit on the cold cement steps of the underground, or stay above ground and get bombed by the Nazis. So it's up to you. If you don't think that the airplanes are real, and all the sounds and all the destruction and the crumbled buildings and the collapsed streets and everything, if that's not real, just stay up there. Get the virus. A bunch of you are cowards. I don't know why you're not volunteering at hospitals. Like, anybody who thinks the virus isn't real, go volunteer at a hospital, you motherfucker. What's wrong with you? You're staying home, you pussy, fucking cuck. You should go to a hospital and volunteer. Don't wear a mask. You're going to wear a mask when you volunteer at the hospital, you coward. This virus is fake, you idiots. Go out there and get it. Give it to your family. Give it to your grandparents. Murder your whole family, right? Or stay home for a month. It's so freaking hard. I mean, what are you going to do? Well, murder your whole family, stay home for a month. Oh, it's tough. It's a trade-off, right? I gotta weigh all my options. I got a lot of options there, man. I don't really like my family. I don't care if they die. Well, you might think about that later. But I don't know anybody. I don't care. I don't know any old people. Only kills old people. Fuck old people. Yeah, we'll see. You're gonna be old someday too, maybe. Maybe. We'll see what you think about that then. That's the problem. It's always the, you know, the classic poem, Father Nemoral or something. He said, you know, when they came for the old people, I wasn't old, so I didn't care. And when they came for the people that were obese and overweight, oh shit, that's me. And when they came for the people with diabetes and other conditions, oh shit, that's me too. Other people like me. Oh fuck, we're gonna die. So yes, stay home. Stay home, you idiots. If you think it's nothing, please go outside. Please don't wear a mask. Go volunteer at a hospital. Go pick up garbage. There's lots of grocery stores that are hiring. You can restock shelves. You could be a delivery person. You could deliver people food. There's all kinds of good things you can do if you don't believe this is real. If you don't believe this is real and you're staying home, you're just a coward.
Have you left your house at all since lockdown started?
I mean, obviously I'm doing the best I can. I'm only a person. Yeah. The dog was sick a couple of times. We went to the vet. I went, one time we went out to get propane. And then the rest of the time we've been doing food delivery. And
were you making a flamethrower?
Huh?
Were you making a flamethrower?
No, I'm cooking food off the grid, baby.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
When the rest of the system goes down, you can still run your barbecue with propane. So it's a pretty good thing to have. But no, that's about it. 2 or 3 times, a couple of grocery orders. Even for a while there, we were trying not to do grocery orders, and I was going to try to just survive on this big bag of rice I got. So we didn't have to do that. Fortunately, some really nice people risked their lives to deliver us groceries. Maybe that's not fair. I mean, I don't think it's very fair, but it's what happened. It's what we did. And yeah, if you don't think it's real, come on, go volunteer at Instacart. Go volunteer at a hospital. I'll wait here. You can pause the video. I'll be back later, and you can tell me how it went.
I think that video is quite interesting though, because for anyone that's going, well, I think everyone's experiencing it now. When you're working from home, it's really difficult to kind of shut down and separate, you know, your mind from work when you're sat there in front of you, you know, on your sofa doing work during the day. So you've really got to be careful in general with just making sure you've got your defined spots and adding a bit of routine in, because otherwise it really does get, you know, very difficult to switch off. And then
Absolutely.
sleep becomes it's impossible.
Well, and I think with the sleep, I've seen it all over the place. And, you know, when I see it too much, I have to join it. But yes, on the Audible bookstore, on the Kindle bookstore, they're basically giving away meditation material. They're like, people are having trouble sleeping. Here's some free books. Here's some free audiobooks. I got an app called Insight Timer. I really like it. It has a lot of other things than just a timer. And I'm listening to this meditation program about sleep, and it's great. And you guys find what works for you. If I have time later, I'll try to share a link on the @MadBitcoins Twitter. But again, what works for me might not work for you. So find your own meditation thing that works and try it. It's not too late to try meditation. Mainly, it's just silence. It's just a matter of stopping your mind, which can be much harder than it sounds. It sounds like an easy thing, but it's much harder. Try some meditation. Try some stretching. I had been not stretching for a while, and I was afraid to stretch. It had been that bad. And no, we got to stretch. We got to stretch. We got to live through this. CPG Gray, definitely check out this video about breaking up your work and breaking up your recreation and all these kind of things, and really understanding what your goal is. What's the goal of the recreation? What's the goal of the exercise? What's the goal of the work even, right? I mean, keep your boss off your ass, make some money. Those are good reasons to work. Making things creatively, there's less reason for. It doesn't quite make money, but you might feel fulfilled and happy in the end, like you did something worthwhile with your life. Like if you went out and volunteered at a hospital right now. Come on, it's a hoax. It's fake. It's the Democrats. Go out, volunteer at a hospital. How about a polling place? Sign up to be a poll worker. Come on, we're going to have an election in November. Everyone's going to go out and get each other sick so we can vote. Come on. Come on.
I don't think there's many people that think it's genuinely the hoax.
No. You don't read my mail, baby. You got to read my comments and the messages there. Yesterday's comments were all about how it was a hoax and how we're totally fooled and how there's 70,000 people dead in the United States. And we're the idiot. We're the idiot out there saying, hey, we just lost as many people as we did in the Vietnam War in 3 months. Hey, we're gonna if we go back out, we might break World War II. Ha! We're having a 9/11 every day in America. Yay! It's like I think it's at least 30 9/11s, but it's something like 65,000 Benghazis. So if you really want to talk about the importance of the thing, oh yeah, we're covering it here. But yeah, if it's not real, get out there and volunteer. Give back to your community. Come on. I just see a bunch of
Surely
cowards. I see a bunch of cowards
you-
in the chat that haven't gone to volunteer yet. I'd sign up
you
now.
if you can't like compare COVID and the flu, though, surely you can't compare the other two that I've already forgotten. Oh god damn it! What was that?
Well, like SARS and bird flu and other things. I mean,
No, you compared to you said about oh I can't remember. It's gone.
well, I mean, with
It's gone.
SARS and
My bad.
bird flu, what we did is we surrounded them first. They might have been this bad. They had potential to be this bad, but by acting early, President Obama was able to keep it out of our country here, the United States, and to assist other countries in the Asian region with surrounding it and tracking it down. And they stomped it out, and it's an incredible success. And it's one of those things where, just like the Battle of Pearl Harbor, maybe we were too successful. You know, maybe things worked out too well. If the bird flu or the SARS had gotten a little worse, if it had gotten to the United States, maybe we would have gotten that little lesson that we needed, that little kick in the right direction. Sure, Barack Obama got the kick. Bill Gates got the kick. Even, I don't like him, but even W. Bush got the kick and was worried about pandemics. He was worried about it. He helped develop these binders that we have. It was that long ago. The National Security Council put these binders on the shelf, and they thought expertly for months and months and months and wrote reports about what to do during pandemics. And then we totally abandoned it because we're so much smarter now than we were then.
I remembered it. It was Benghazi. So, you know, surely if we can't compare the flu to COVID, then we can't compare the COVID to like
Any
9/11 Benghazi.
any event with a death toll, we can compare it to another event with a death toll. I'm straight up comparing the dead.
That's flu as well.
You can compare the death. Well, again, that's actually, you can't say that things that are viruses are different than things that are wars. Okay, so you can't just say World War II is like the coronavirus, but you can say that as many people who died from World War II are as many people who died from the coronavirus. You can compare one aspect of them, the death toll. And sure, you could do that for the flu, but the problem is when you're comparing two things that are similar, like apples to apples or viruses to viruses, then you have to start looking at how they spread. And this thing spread so much better than the flu. It's so much stronger. It's like you're comparing the flu to the AIDS virus. You're like, I hope I don't get the AIDS. Oh shit, I got the AIDS. So no, it's not really right there. Yes, they do kill people.
25. Sorry, Bitcoin.
Oh yeah.
It's pumping. Sorry.
Price goes
got
up
excited.
when we do this show. You know that. Everyone knows that.
Oh,
But
10K
yeah,
soon.
10K soon. Get ready. Also got exciting Bitcoin-based news. PewDiePie is leaving that goofy blockchain video platform for an exclusive YouTube deal. It's almost like he just used the goofy blockchain video platform called DLive to get a better deal with YouTube. PewDiePie had managed to move an impressive 1% of his fans over to DLive. So if he had stayed with DLive, he would have lost 99% of his fans. So yeah, PewDiePie is going back to YouTube. Duh. I don't even think he stopped making YouTube videos. Okay, so good one, DLive. Way to spend that money. Nice job bringing in the big hitter. Yeah, he really stuck with you. 6 months or something. We've got some...
But you've got to admit though, surely the YouTube cutting videos down, like for not doing anything particularly that bad. I mean,
yeah,
Dr.
but
Erickson
we know why that's
just looking at data.
We know why
What was
that's
the
happening too. When the virus started, YouTube had to let go all of their humans that look at videos because they couldn't do it anymore. And I guess they could do it from home, really, if you want. But so they have algorithms running the show. So that's why these people get banned.
Okay.
It's a computer mistake. And yeah, a lot of them are good people, like Adam Meister has been doing Bitcoin videos for years and years and years. However, if you start giving out information that's counter to the public health, then things get complicated. Then YouTube is now hosting information that's counter to the public health, and YouTube's a private company. They're not going to want to host your information if it seems counter to the public health. So that's pretty obvious right there. And again, we're using their platform. All of this, I remember when we invented the internet, and I remember when we had all these things and we talked about how they should be distributed, and we talked about how they shouldn't be owned by a corporation and they should be protocols, right? Like instant messaging, chat. We used to have open protocols where different chat things like AIM and other systems could work together and they could all use the same network. And that allowed everyone to benefit. But then other companies like Facebook and Google, they just want to own the protocols, right? They don't want an open web. That's why Google killed Google Reader. RSS was an open protocol, partially invented by Aaron Swartz, the impressive Redditor. And they can't control that. They can't profit off it as easily. So yeah, we got the internet that you get if you're lazy. We got the internet that you get if you don't pay attention. They came in, the corporations, and they took it from us. Just like they took radio, just like they took television, just like they took newspapers and pamphlets and printed homes.
I think it will be pretty gradual, but some of these platforms, the alternate, YouTube alternatives, they will, gradually build network effect. But I mean, I can't see YouTube getting usurped anytime soon. It's just,
and that's the problem with all of these walled gardens, is they're just too powerful. And like, yes, you hope that the outsiders have a chance, but then the walled gardens will open up just a little bit to kill the outsiders. And then once there's no more outsiders, they close the garden back up. Twitter used to have an incredible open API. You could write a whole program on Twitter like TweetDeck, and then it was a separate company at the time. And you could display Twitter's images and their graphics and their news and their information. And everyone was lauding it and celebrating it. And then they shut it down. Now it doesn't exist. Now you can't do that. That's why you don't trust a private company. That's why you want an open protocol like Bitcoin. That's why if you look at something like Ripple or Ethereum or the DAO, they're all designed for someone other than the public. They're designed for corporations to use. They have rollback. Rollback is a feature that corporations like. We made a whoopsie, we got hacked, whatever it is. You just call up Uncle Vitalik, he rolls it back for you. Bitcoin doesn't have this, right? Bitcoin's a true open protocol like the internet. Bitcoin can't be co-opted as easily. You can still send packets around. User interfaces might not be there. You can still send packets around on the original internet. So it's going to be very hard for any of these ideas that we keep having, decentralized YouTube, decentralized Facebook, whatever it is. It's very hard to get the network effect. It's very hard to get the people on your side. They'd rather stay in their old systems. They don't have enough reason to move to a new system. And look at this example here. Obviously, we can't blame PewDiePie for going back to 99% of his audience. And in the same way, can we really blame the audience for not wanting to move? They just want to stay on YouTube with all the other videos they watch. Only PewDiePie left. Sure, maybe if
why
everyone
didn't you just
left.
post it on both?
Oh, he could, but then you don't get a sweet deal. You gotta get a sweet deal.
Oh, exclusive.
It's an exclusive deal here. He only streams on YouTube now. He signed a deal. And yeah, respect to him for manipulating the system and using one company against the other company. I mean, this is just smart business here. And also, F you to all the people who called PewDiePie a Nazi. Like, that was complete nonsense. That was bullshit. And that's also why this is happening in the first place. YouTube should have loved this guy the whole time. He's incredibly entertaining. He's incredibly hardworking. And he's a good example of the platform. And yeah, he made a couple of Nazi jokes. They were off color. Like, they're poor choices, sure. But that doesn't make the man a Nazi. So it's pretty weird stuff that happened to old PewDiePie.
A lot of people would disagree with that. A lot of people think that, just anything makes someone a Nazi. Just saying, oh, in some instances, I agree that a wall may be effective. And so it does get bandied about quite a lot, the old Nazi.
Well, I
thing
mean, he
nowadays.
specifically made jokes that weren't that funny, that were like
Yeah.
Nazi-related jokes. So in that case, I think we can say they were attempts at humor, maybe not great attempts. He apologized. I think we can move on. I mean, if he had said other shit, and you know it right when you see it, I don't even have to make up some terrible shit. You know terrible shit when you hear it. And no, he never said anything like that. I never.
Or like
projected
Justin
anything.
Trudeau and his multi-year blackface.
I don't know about that. Did he wear a Halloween costume or something?
Oh, there's loads of them. There's like Aladdin and all sorts.
It was. I
So,
mean,
it's pretty funny.
it's just there.
Well,
it was.
okay, it's not funny, as in it's funny. It's not nothing about it's funny apart from the scenario itself about him being very, left-leaning and liberal, and then having it a dark history, as it were.
I'm not so sure about that. I mean, I know it's fun to be politically correct and to judge other eras against other eras. But it seems a lot more to me like, let's just say Aladdin. Like if he dressed up like Aladdin, it seems more to me that he likes the character Aladdin. Like he's showing respect to the story and the author and Arabian Nights and the whole history.
Cultural appropriation, you see.
I think in the time period it was
8800.
different. I really think it was different, and I think also just that I
I
don't
know.
think we
I'm
can judge
playing
him on
devil's
that.
advocate. It's because everyone else is kind of good at, the history. People's history has always been brought up, but it's just interesting to see that no one's infallible. Everyone's got something on them that's stupid that they did when they were younger.
Yep, like that British prince who literally dressed up as a Nazi.
Yes,
That was a little
exactly.
odd. Like, I mean, if you really want to say like, okay, so Aladdin is really bad, but a Nazi? I mean, I think the Aladdin costume looks good now. I mean, and again, I like Aladdin. I think it's a great story. I like the movie, If I dressed up as Aladdin, I certainly would do the blackface or whatever these days, but in the time or whatever, I'd imagine, because I wanted to look more like Aladdin. I mean, it seems like, I don't know. There's also there was a great tweet that went around recently about Robert Downey Jr. did a whole movie in blackface and even talked about it during the movie. And of course, that's Tropic Thunder. And it's a hilarious movie. And yes, it's kind of impressive that he got away with it and all that. But at the same time, like,
And got an Oscar nomination.
yeah, well, it's the quality of the film. I mean, it's the quality. It was funny. Like, and we used to have a sense of humor. I have to tell DJ Booth I broke his chart thing. Damn you, Bitcoin. Let's see. Maybe if we change back to this thing, it'll fix it. Okay. It works in this mood. So there we go.
Ooh,
Cartoony mode.
98. We're getting close.
So
What do you think, Tom? 10K end of the day?
I don't know. I like it when it goes up, though. It's nice.
It's looking pretty dicey, isn't it?
And again, it always goes down after it goes up. So who freaking knows? But
It goes up more if you get more of
Bitcoin
those
is
things
very
covered
volatile,
with the cursor.
oh yeah, I know it's counting how many of these little things I click on, and then when you click on this guy here, it's like a goose.
Bitcoin is very volatile, so
that's from a Silicon Valley episode where he had this like metal anthem playing every time the price of Bitcoin went up, and it was always like or something. That was a cool episode.
Nice.
Interesting article here from Cointelegraph. U.S. debt hits 25 trillion, and the stimulus checks that bought Bitcoin are now worth 1.6 thousand. So you start out with $1,200. Maybe you're in a good position. You don't have to pay rent right away somehow. I don't know. But I guess if you had it and it was extra money, I'm not sure I haven't even got mine yet, if I'm getting one. And if they spend it on Bitcoin like a lot of them claim to, they now have 1.6 thousand. So that's pretty good. That's like a 30% increase from 1,200 to 16. So that's all right.
Not bad. That's just the beginning.
Hey, check it out. CoinDesk knows how to use calendars, and they're reporting the same thing that Bitcoinal's been reporting for days and days. That is that the Bitcoin halving. Oh, Bitcoinal took it away from me. It's gone. Oh, it's a new version. But anyway, the halving's been moving up. It's now scheduled for May 11th. So everyone that scheduled a big, fancy, rich halving party so that they could dominate the market and get all the money, now you've got to reschedule. Now you've got all those people that you had timed out. You got to reschedule. You got to move them around. Oh, Bitcoin's so difficult. Oh, having a halving party so hard. Oh.
So saying here it's 12th. I'm looking at bitcoinblockhalf.com and it's saying 12th of May.
Yeah,
at,
a lot.
10 past midnight.
DJ Boo's having it move up to the 11th of May at 3 o'clock right now. So I don't know if these other guys are. And we had all that talk where there were more miners on the network and they were cranking out blocks. I think CoinDesk used the fabulous turn of art that they were banging out a lot of blocks.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of blocks were getting fucked. They were getting banged. And if you bang out a lot of blocks like that really fast, then the halving moves up, right? And this is what happened with like Bcash and some other things. Their halvings moved up because their blocks were so easy to solve because they're fucking clown show.
Maybe someone unearthed the picture of Craig Wright posing topless, and that's what they
That accelerated the whole market.
kicked it all off. Yeah,
I hear Craig Wright's about to pose as a plagiarizer. I hear they're looking at his college thesis, and that poor guy alleged.
The university responded to the thread.
Yeah. They're gonna have to look at it because it's that bad. Yeah, I would say allegedly, but yeah, when this is all over, that guy's not gonna have anything left. He's gonna be like this great scammer that like touched the sky like Icarus in his chariot and caught on fire and died. Right? So
He'll have
Icarus.
some hugs from Calvin Air though, I suppose.
That's,
there, Craig. We almost did it.
now that's worse than getting the virus right
there,
there.
Satoshi.
That's a virus I don't want. Touched by that guy. Oh, we've got another guy I don't want to be touched by. Bitcoin's stock to flow creator will go dark if the Bitcoin price hits 6 figures. I love this about these chart guys. So what he says that if I'm right and the thing goes great, right, and Bitcoin goes to $288,000 a coin, this guy says he's going to disappear right away and that governments are going to fight for it, and he thinks that they're not going to come looking for him, right? And he thinks that he gave a whole interview with Pompliano and he used his real voice and told Pompliano who he is, and I don't know that they really said who he was publicly. He thinks he's not going to be found, like his voice print's not on file. So he's a character right away. But what I love is what he says is, if he's wrong, he'll come back and give us another model. And it's like, well, if you're wrong, your model was wrong. Maybe you should just shut up. Like maybe this should be the other way. Like if Bitcoin's price goes up, you crow a lot about it and talk it up like you were right. If Bitcoin price goes down, how about you just shut up and go away? Right? That's what I would say if your model's wrong. But no, he's like, it's more of a scientific thing to him, I think. It's not so much about these people that just want the chart gains and whatever. For him, he wants to model it properly as a scientist, and he would be unhappy if he modeled it improperly. So I dig what he's saying, but I just see so many of these chart guys. They're like, the price will go up unless this. The price will go down unless that. They're just saying both sides.
The flow's got a lot more meat behind it, though, hasn't it? In terms of the pattern, it looks very convincing.
Yeah, but not from this guy. I mean, the idea that Bitcoin would be more valuable because it's scarce has been clear since someone explains the halving to you. As someone says just the sentence, every 4 years, the amount of Bitcoins produced every 10 minutes on average reduces by half. You're like, wait a minute, this is structured differently than other things. So yeah, I think it's been kind of blindingly obvious. And yeah, he lined it up with the chart, and the chart matches some little lines that he drew on the chart. But to me, from the very beginning, it's been blindingly obvious that Bitcoins were scarce and they were getting more scarce. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like a great grand theory to me. The grand theory of Bitcoin's getting scarce. You didn't see it coming. They announced the halving in advance. It's not like the whole point is to compare it to a traditional currency where, like right now, the US dollar just printed more.
There is an infinite amount of cash at the Federal Reserve.
We printed more dollars than we've ever seen, right? We didn't expect that to happen. That wasn't scheduled, right? If that was Bitcoin, it would have to been on the schedule from the time Bitcoin existed. So unlike every other currency in the world where they might print it randomly, they might print it randomly when they feel good. They might print it randomly when they feel bad. They might just print it regardless of feelings. All of that compares favorably to Bitcoin with its halving schedule of reducing production every 4 years. So yeah, I think we've always said it was going to go up. I don't think that you needed a chart or a graph or a little magical thing. I mean, I think that if you just bought a little, kept working your job, took it as an investment, and kept paying your bills and everything, you'll be fine. I think we'll all be fine. John McAfee thinks he's solved Bitcoin's greatest mystery. Who is Satoshi Nakamoto? Or is our real mystery, why do we care about John McAfee anymore? That might be it. John McAfee claims to know the answer. John McAfee says he's 99% sure. Then he knows the identity. According to McAfee, here comes the meat of the article. Oh, the meat. I said meat with McAfee. It was a team of 11 people over a period of 5 years that came up eventually with Bitcoin. Adding that he thinks Craig's Wright was involved. How they decided who would write the paper, I don't know. But anybody who wants to know who it is, I mean, you know who the options are. You've got Craig Wright, possibly. I'm not going to name everybody else, otherwise you'll figure out who it is, but somebody wrote the white paper. And what I like here is this piece of evidence he picks up. We had this in 2013. Like this is not at all new. The author used British English over American English and consistently used 2 spaces after a period. For those of you who don't know, that means that the author was probably trained on typewriters. We probably have an older Satoshi Nakamoto, much like myself, can't stop doing 2 spaces after a period. It's just what they taught us.
I learned on an Amiga 500, and that was, back in the day when they taught me, it was on an old BBC actually, but I had a Amiga 500. But I was taught the two spaces. I know someone that does 3 spaces, and it annoys the absolute hell out of me. When I'm responding to an email, I have to go back and correct all of their spaces and then write my email first, even though he's probably not even going to notice. But one day he will.
Yeah, three spaces is crazy. And of course now, and the reason they would teach you that as well is just so the sentences stick apart a little bit. It makes them a little bit easier to read. And it's the kind of thing where now the computer could probably just notice that there's a period and put a slightly bigger space. So you wouldn't have to do that. But yeah, we had this years ago, and they said that they knew who it was based upon text analysis, and they said that it was Nick Scabo. So there you go. And I'd also throw, don't want to get him in trouble or anything, but Adam Back is British. Just saying. If he's using British English over American English, if you're going to have someone...
newspaper in the Genesis block as well, the UK Times.
Yep, we're getting a lot of British information there, so definitely some... Brits
German
on the
email.
team. According to McAfee, he says that he's spoken to so-called Satoshi on the phone. He says, I was actually going to divulge who he was, adding that the author of the Bitcoin's white paper convinced him not to reveal it. So this is just very strange. I kind of, like, my bullshit detector is going off here, right? Like, I just don't believe any of this. And also, if I was the U.S. government, or if I was the Chinese government, and someone like McAfee or anybody was claiming publicly that they knew who Satoshi was, and Satoshi might have the coins that or the keys that control billions of dollars of wealth, even if McAfee was on a boat in the middle of the ocean, I think I'd go pick him up, and I'd go see if we could find out who Satoshi was. So I don't think it's a good thing to say for McAfee. I think that he doesn't know and that he's bragging and that he shouldn't say this, but we'll see. As of course they
in the
have
next sentence, it says he has an AK-47, so he's probably he's kind of expecting it, right? He's expecting unexpected guests.
Well, that was one of the best questions that we had at McAfee. McAfee appeared via Skype at the Transylvania Bitcoin conference, and my buddy Theo was there, and he had just kind of walked in the room, and they were looking for somebody to ask questions, and everyone was kind of afraid of McAfee, having seen the documentary Gringo on Netflix, and no one wanted to ask him a question for fear of offending the madman. And but Theo rolled right in, and Theo said, Mr. McAfee, what is your favorite weapon? And McAfee's eyes lit up like he had just been asked the best question ever. He couldn't believe it. He was so excited to tell us. He's like, well, certain situations, in a close range situation, I would like a sawed-off shotgun. Normally I like a pistol, like a Sig Sauer or a a Glock is very good because it doesn't jam. All these gun things. So he was fired up to talk about that. So yeah, no doubt on his boat, McAfee's got guns. Not talking out of school here. And earlier this year, as the article says, McAfee reneged on his promise to eat his own dick on national television if the Bitcoin price didn't hit 500,000 per Bitcoin by the end of 2020. So once again, another coward, another big talker who doesn't come through with what he says, saying that Bitcoin is now ancient technology and lending his support to the privacy-focused cryptocurrency, Monero. Kind of bad luck for Monero there, right? You get McAfee. You can have him. He's yours now. So, just as well, I figure. I think that's about it. Let's see what else we got. I've always got more news. No, I think I went through all the news. I feel satisfied on this news.
Was it 500K, the John McAfee? Was it 500K or a million, he said?
According to this article, it says 500K.
Yeah. Cool. So I was just confirming it because I'm just going to tweet him and ask him if he'd consider swapping his 500K dick eating for giving us who Satoshi is.
Worth a shot. I thought the whole time that he was going to, cut off a small piece of it and eat it and count that as the thing. And it would still be very gross and horrible, and especially if he showed it or something.
I'd still watch it.
Yeah, I'd read about it. But yeah, it does look like McAfee's given up. He's given up the dream, I guess.
Yeah.
So checking out the price of Bitcoin, it's $9,852. Don't know where the halvening is anymore. DJ Booth moved it out of the box. So we're going to have to go look that up. Thehalvening.com. Oh, they changed it all up. I kind of don't like it. Is there another halvening.com? I guess it was. They used to have the old rocket ship, and I like the old rocket ship better. This one's ugly. Oh well. We're waiting for the Bitcoin halvening, still estimated for May the 12th or perhaps May the 11th. We'll see. It might be a little earlier.
Yeah, because 4 days, 6 hours and 20 minutes is... Oh, okay. It's just on the border, isn't it?
Yeah, it's right now they've got it for 2... It looks like 2 minutes after 0 is what I'm seeing there. So
I've got it 10 minutes after the one I'm looking at, so it's all pretty tight.
We're gonna be up late.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's gonna be like the old fight night. Well, for us it was late anyway. It would be like 4 a.m. It would be the boxing matches, sort of staying up for fight night. Except it's gonna be like the biggest non-event ever, because the only thing that's gonna happen is that it's gonna go from 12.5 to 6.25.
Well, I remember last time this webpage, it didn't even take off. Like nothing happened. They didn't. I guess I think I refreshed the page like a few minutes later. It worked. They got too much traffic or something. But yeah, it was a great clip that Corey used in the World Crypto Network trailer, where I'm like 3, 2, 1, nothing happened. This is the biggest disappointment in animation since the Phantom Menace. That was pretty funny, I thought. And of course, I don't remember it at all. It was 4 years ago or whatever. But yeah, we had a halvening party 4 years ago right here on the World Crypto Network, and we're going to have another one in just a few days right here. And I can tell you guys already the theme for this halving party, and it's probably not a great time. We're talking to the political crowd here, but no, the theme of the halving party is you. I want the audience to join us on the halvening party. I've seen a lot of these other people with their big fancy halvening shows, and they've contracted all these people, and they have all this schedule and all this fancy stuff that they've done. We're not going to do any of that. I'm going to invite my friends. When we get a little closer to live, I'm going to randomly invite people on the internet, and if they show, that's cool. But if they've signed an exclusive deal with the other party and they can't go to any of the other ones, or maybe they have to plug their party a bunch of times before they can get here or something, I don't know. But if they want to come, that's great. But the people that I want to celebrate the halvening with is Bitcoiners. And for lack of a better word, normal Bitcoiners, just average, everyday people like me who just like Bitcoin and think it's cool. And so if you want to share your story about how you found Bitcoin, or if you just want to do a shout out, like, the wedding video where you're like, hey, Bitcoin, happy anniversary, you're looking great, blah, 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 that would be good. And that's what we're going to do. So stay right here, the World Crypto Network. Doesn't matter what time the halvening is. We're going to start 2 or 3 hours before that. We're going to hang out. If we don't have anything else to do, we'll play video from our previous party 4 years ago. And you can see what we thought about the halvening then. And that not much has changed. So I want to open it up to people in the audience. If you'd like to call us now, you can give us a call now at 1-518-600-1949 or on Skype at World Crypto Network, all one word. We're going to keep the phone lines open probably for about 15 minutes here. If we could get 2 or 3 calls, sure, we'll answer them back to back. We'll talk to you for a while. You could talk to us about coronavirus. You can talk to us about the halving, talk to us about Bitcoin, whatever you want. Or we could talk video games. I think the CPG Gray video is a great topic. Maybe not today, but on another day, I wouldn't mind just playing the whole thing and kind of breaking it down. But I think we gave you a good summary and a good place to start from. And CPG Gray has made these incredible animations for a long time now. I don't know if you've seen him before. He's great. He did the one about how to board the airplanes better. And he'll break your heart with the amazing airplane boarding strategies that we could have that we don't use. We're just not a very serious society. But yeah, he's great. He's very thoughtful.
Thomas, you're like this. My friend's just sent me a picture of, he's got the Ultimate Collector's Series Star Wars Millennium Falcon, like the massive one with
the Lego
thousands
one,
of
or
pieces.
like a toy.
Lego.
Oh, Lego. Yeah,
Lego.
that's a big Lego kit. Yeah.
Sick. Yeah, looks pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that might have been the Falcon. Might be the biggest Star Wars Lego kit ever. Like the most number of pieces or something, which to me is actually terrifying. I remember the last Lego piece I did, and I have it here. Maybe I'll hold it up for you guys in a minute. But I cracked it. First, I thought it was going to be fun. Right, big mistake. A great guy, Jeremy. Shout out to Jeremy in the chat. He's probably there fighting trolls or agreeing with them. And but Jeremy supports us, and Jeremy sent me a fun Lego kit of Las Vegas architecture that I built. And when I opened it up and I looked at the instructions and I started sorting the individual pieces by individual size and style, I suddenly realized that I was programming computers and I didn't like it, and it was work. This wasn't a toy and this wasn't fun. This was like, and when you put the wrong piece just off by 1 square and you have to go back and fix it, that's when you know you're doing work. That's probably why it's a great toy for kids. It teaches kids programming.
Unless you enjoy going back and fixing it. You're like, oh, I get to do that bit again. Yeah.
I don't know how people can be that way, but I guess maybe they are. And I know there's lots of people that love Legos, and certainly you get focused into it. I kind of like big bucket of pieces Legos. Like you can build anything you want, and it's like a spaceship or it's a building or whatever, that's kind of fun. But the other kind of Lego where you follow the instructions and you get a result, it's kind of satisfying at the end, but it's kind of torturous in the middle. Let me get my Lego and show you guys my incredible model that I made.
Okay. I don't
All
have
right.
any Lego. Well, in fact, I do.
I used to have the old bucket O Lego. That was my kind of Lego, and we had just started
sick,
we just started like the space series had come in, so we had some space options. But you can see these are a lot of like unique pieces. There's nothing else that you could do with the top of the Luxor except top the Luxor. So not a lot of choices or creativity here, but really nice model. Looks good. These are the Las Vegas casinos, obviously. They're all closed now. But thanks again to Jeremy for the really nice Lego model. And I had a good time building it on the live stream, although I worried that I would get upset and smash things. But I managed to control it and to be cool. Because you're looking for some
611 blocks.
You're looking for some little itty bitty piece and you can't find it. It's pretty frustrating. So, but that's it's good. Teach the children programming. I know enough. I don't need to do that. So, keeping an eye on the price of Bitcoin. Looks like it's around 9,813 right now. It did top out a little earlier at 9,900. So very close to 10,000, which again is just a round number. If I could teach you anything from the time when Bitcoin went up to 18,000, but not 20,000, I would teach you that 18,000 is enough. If you need to sell, if it's 9,800 and you're waiting for 10,000 to sell, it's only $200 off. It's not that much. It's something about your mind is attracted to these big round numbers. So you want to wait. And the reality is the other traders know this, and they're all trying to undercut each other. And that's why it went to 9,900. It didn't go to 10,000 because they knew that you were waiting for 10,000. So can't get everything. But we still got the phone lines open if you'd like to call in at 1-518-600-1949. Internationally, just dial 001. Or if you'd like to call us on Skype, it's free. You can download it from Microsoft, create an email address. Could be fake, I don't know. And you can create a Skype account. You could call us there. I'd like to hear about your experiences volunteering in the hospital. I know a lot of you think that the virus is fake, so you've already gone out and you've already been volunteering these last few weeks. Some of you have even given up your masks to other people because you're not concerned at all. And you know that the virus is fake. A lot of you are having fake virus parties and you're licking other people's skin, just hoping that you'll get the fake virus so you can tell everyone how fake it is. So good luck with that. I hope that the hospital volunteering goes really well and that you learn how nice it is to share and to help the community. And that if you did happen to see a person locked away in quarantine, dying, spending their last breaths alone, maybe talking to a loved one through a phone, but maybe not, maybe just alone, that, it'll affect you. It'll make you think about empathy and what it's like to be someone else. Because that would be a really valuable lesson I think you could learn.
Again, though, people do have empathy. That they're just, they're just not able to trust the information they're given because there is a lot of misinformation, man. So I think there's a lot more factors scaring people just than, the virus. And I don't think from just selfish perspectives. I think there's some people that believe the crazy stories that it's like 5G activated and I don't know, David Icke's gonna rocket his house to the moon and vaccinate everyone, or I don't know whatever the conspiracy theory is. But then there's a lot of people that are just generally like, oh, shit, I can't imagine life with even less money than I have now.
Oh, looks like we got a call.
Ooh.
Just a sec. Let me get the audio. Hello, caller. You're live on the World Crypto Network. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hey, it's me, Max Kaiser. How's it going, Dallas?
Hey, I know that Max Kaiser. He thinks everything's a hoax, too.
Yeah, you got me. How's it going, guys?
Hey, it's Crypt Loco, right? How's it going,
Crypt Loco, yeah. Out here in sunny Mexico. I got a theory for you guys. It's kind of interesting. So everybody keeps talking about the happening being searched for a lot on Google. And I thought about it. I actually think it's just Tone Vase opening up private browser tabs at his grandma's house and ruthlessly jerking off for the price. I think that the volume, that accounts for most of the volume. But seriously though, I think that this whole happening thing is pretty funny. I mean, for those of us that have been around this is our second or third happening, I think this whole Plan B obsession, I don't know about you guys, but it just feels like as we get closer and closer, it just becomes, the content becomes more and more so obviously fixated on the price, and like just we're all jerking ourselves off so much. It just is kind of disgusting. I mean, we're not really talking, we stopped talking about the Lightning Network and all these other things that are going on. And it's just talking about like Plan B and Safety of the Moose and how we're all going to be saved by Bitcoin. And don't get me wrong, but what are your guys' takes on it? Because I mean, there's a real strong temptation to just jerk ourselves off. But I mean, There's all kinds of other shit going on.
Well, as much as I think that the halvening driving the price up is pretty obvious and always has been obvious, it's not just the Plan B guy. A lot of these other YouTube channels, and I won't name names, and people work hard on them too. They're good workers, and they have cool titles like "This Bitcoin will make you a millionaire," and "This halvening could cause the price to explode," and it's all capital letters. And yeah, they're great. They're great at what they do, and they get lots of views, and they have more subscribers and all that kind of thing. But yeah, I do think their content's a little empty and flat, and that once you get past the price, that they're not talking about remittances, they're not talking about getting the money to the poor, they're not talking about stopping inflation, they're not talking about what the world would be like if we couldn't print money to bail out the coronavirus and stuff. I mean, but that's what Bitcoin is, that's what it drives to, and it is better money than anything. So I do still expect it to win, and to win handily. But yeah, these price channels aren't getting us anywhere. But sadly, I mean, I don't want to paint it with a brush, but maybe these are the new Bitcoiners. Maybe the new Bitcoiners only care about the price. They don't care about any of this cypherpunk stuff or any of this libertarian or Austrian economics or any of these kind of things. They're just here for the money. So.
Oh boy, man!
It
I
comes
hope
in
not.
waves, though, doesn't it? Like it's. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Dan. Sorry, talk to Dan too.
Yeah, I was just going to say,
go
kind
ahead.
of, it comes in waves because you've got the people who know about the tech kind of talking about it all and getting excited, and then by the time it kind of gets to near the event, all you're left with is that you're drowned out by when mooners and just ultra hardcore Bitcoin like not phrases, but just that kind of less fun attitude and just more interesting, more being about just price and moon. That's it. Price, moon, halvening. Oh, it's you suckers. And some of the arrogance comes back, I think. And I like to be humble as a Bitcoin community. I like the Bitcoin community when they're humble. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you too, Thomas, that I don't think that it's just the Plan B thing. I just think it's funny that the narrative shift, the shift of narrative to the emphasis on Plan. I mean, I feel like, because I listen to a lot of Bitcoin content, I'm kind of a Bitcoin content junkie. And when I'm listening to it nowadays, it's just like every single channel is just talking about Plan B, almost reading each other's content, which is kind of funny. And so I'm listening to it, I'm thinking like, damn, I just heard this like 5 times already. Okay, Bitcoin, Plan B found out about Bitcoin. Okay, great. Let's talk about something else. I mean, the whole world's going to shit. And it's just funny because at the time when Bitcoin is really poised to shine the most in our global economy, there's so much talk about this whole modeling and all this stuff. But yeah, I agree. It's not just Plan B. It is sort of, and it's something that I think that all content creators should be self-aware of right now at this time, that the minute that you spend, and I'm not talking about you guys, but I'm saying the minute somebody spends it's almost kind of like you should time yourself. Like, how long are you talking about Bitcoin price in a given streak? And you should shut yourself off at a certain point because of course we know that nobody really knows what the Bitcoin price is going to be. And the only thing that really seems like makes sense to talk about for a real Bitcoin price speculation is based on all this fundamental stuff, like stuff going on in Africa, or, and even that's kind of like, who knows? But there's just so much great stuff going on in Bitcoin right now, and I feel like so much of it's getting drowned out by Tone Vase jerking off his grandma's house.
Well, he's got to stop that. He's going to get it on the drapes. But yeah, I think Ben said a really great thing during the Bitcoin group recently. I think it was Ben. But what they said is that imagine if the Bitcoin halvening had happened last year. Like last year, everything was fine. Remember, I was out traveling. We were having a good time. Everybody was going to work. Everything was cool. The Bitcoin halvening wouldn't have really meant anything, right? Like, sure, maybe the price would go up and all these things, right? But as far as meaning, right? Now we have all these countries around us. Here it is.
There is an infinite amount of cash at the Federal Reserve.
They're printing the money. They're printing lots of money. And again, we're a Keynesianist system here, so you have to print the money. That's what you do during the crisis. I'm not arguing against that. But they are printing the money. And it's a great analogy for their endless printing to be combined with Bitcoin's incredible stoicism as it just cuts production by half. I saw a lot of people on Twitter. They were saying, why are people excited about the halvening? I'm nervous. I'm scared. I'm anxious. I don't think it's a good idea. We're cutting our production by half. Maybe we shouldn't do this. Maybe we should talk about it. Maybe it should be like the UASF or the SegWit, right? Where we had a big debate and then we adopted it on the network and all those things. Well, guess what? Like, it's in the code. It just happens on a schedule. And from the very beginning with Bitcoin, when I started learning these basic facts, that was one of the basic facts that excited me. I was like, money on a schedule, like no matter what happens, we're cutting it by half. No matter what happens, like crazy virus takes over the world. Everyone's staying home. No one's thinking about investing right now. It's a terrible time to cut it by half. But no matter what happens, we're going to cut it by half. So that's what I think is exciting about this is even though in a computer science way, it's functionary. It's like a program counting to 10. It did it. It counted to 10. Well, boy. But yeah, at block, whatever it is, we're going to go. And that's it. That's all the computer program cares about. I'm going to watch this website and I hope they have an animation this time and, all that kind of thing. But, and we're going to cheer and we're going to have our little, bells and ringers and we're make it like New Year's and things. But, as far as things that are actually going to happen, it's really like a variable being cut in half. I don't know the specific code. I'm sure it's fancier, but no,
there's
it's
no
just
risk, is there? There's it's so simple that it's going to be a complete encoding. It's just a non-event. But
it hits a
to
block.
the people that are involved, it's like it's the world. It's been the last 4 years of waiting.
And even if it doesn't go crazy up right away, and remember last time it kind of dipped after the halvening and then it started going crazy up. Which again, the market doesn't do just what you want it to do. You're like, I need it to go to this so I can pay off this by that. Market's not necessarily going to behave that way. I wish it would. But if it goes up, I hope to pay off some of my credit card bills too. But no doubt. But yeah.
I think one of the things for me, and I don't know about you guys' experience in Bitcoin, but for me, I totally embrace what you guys are talking about, what we're kind of pointing out here, because when I came to Bitcoin, I was in my 20s. I thought I knew it all, and Bitcoin taught me so much about how to fail gracefully, about to care about things like coding and the economy and things like that in a way that I never had before. And I tell people not to buy Bitcoin, but to learn Bitcoin. And I know that that's kind of a cliche at this point, but it falls into the same thing, and like now when everybody's wetting their pants over the possibility of Bitcoin price going up, and it is going up. I'm running my S9s, trying to get as much as I can out of the network before it halves, But it's just interesting because we've been through this before. At this point, we're kind of hard into the ruthless jerking off, and it's almost kind of like maybe Dan's right. Yeah, maybe it's like a new no, I think Thomas said it was like a new wave of Bitcoiners in some sense. I think it's hilarious though, this whole Plan B going dark. Come on, man.
Wasn't it great though? In the article, he's so excited. He's like, okay, my theory is right. The supply is going down. The price is going up. Everyone else is like, of course, that's what happens. But he's like, if my theory is really right, the U.S. government could get interested in this, and then they're going to be fighting over it, and then they're going to come after me. So I'm going to disappear. And it's like, dude, Plan B, you're a little paranoid there, man. Like you might want to slow down a little, like take a break. Huh?
He's doing it on. And the thing was that he's featured on every single top Bitcoin podcast. Everybody's talking about it. So it's like, in a roundabout way, it just seems like it's kind of validating this. Who's already left? Satoshi left. Amir Taki's gone. Nobody knows where Cody Wilson is. I haven't. There's all kinds of people that have left that never said they were going to leave or that just left. Which gets back to my original point about Bitcoin just keeps going, and it's there to teach, and it's there to teach you about the scammers and the people who don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And, it eventually all comes around. So yeah, he's a quant guy that did a model, and it shows what Bitcoin does, and in a way that makes I guess gives some attention. But anyway, I guess I'm talking about it too much. I guess the point is that yeah, it's interesting to see the with so much going on in the politics of Bitcoin, for the conversation to be reshaped into and not just the politics of Bitcoin, but the politics of Bitcoin finally interacting with the politics of the world. And then to see the whole thing just shift over to the price again.
Well, and I don't want to bum everybody out. So if you don't want to get bummed, take your headphones off now. But isn't there a possibility that this is just kind of detached escapism, where we're like, okay, the virus is really bad. We put that in the back of our mind. What if Bitcoin goes up? I could pay off my credit cards. I could get a new car, all these kind of things. That's a way better thing to think about than thinking about the realities of the virus, or the realities of staying inside, or the realities of, dead grandparents everywhere. Yeah, maybe we're just so hopeful.
That's really insightful.
Yeah.
That's actually really insightful, because that's exactly what I mean. We were those people once, right? I mean, when we first came to Bitcoin in our 20s, when we saw this little thing go up, and we were like, oh man, Namecoin, Feathercoin, it's like Litecoin, but Litecoin silver to the,
It's even lighter than Litecoin, because it's light as a feather. Whoa.
It's really fast.
It's like better. It's faster. And I remember thinking. I remember looking at my Cryptsy account, thinking, you know what? I forget which one it was. It was some dark pony coin or something, and I was like, it's got faster transactions, and it's got an Android app, guys. It stakes. It stakes. And I remember thinking to myself, I think there was like some mock-up of like an Android app where it accepted merchant payments or something on some kind of a marketplace, and I was thinking, this is going to get accepted. This is going to, and it was the same thing. It was like I was really convincing myself that 30 cents that I spent on that stupid coin. Oh, I know what it was. Cloak coin. And I was thinking to myself, this is it, guys. Verifiable proof of stakes, real secure. This is totally anonymous. It's like the Craigslist of crypto or something. And I really believed it. And now there's so much more reason to believe that Bitcoin is going to go to the moon. 250,000 billion or whatever it is going to be per coin. But it tempers our expectations, and it kicks us. We've been kicked in the ass so many times that yeah, I can see that, Thomas. I can totally see that logic. That like, yeah, maybe it's just people that are just so desperate for something because they just need that constant stimulation, that constant cognitive dissonance, reaffirmation that that makes sense to me, because I do feel like all these content creators, like I was so shocked that, like, I mean, every single time, I don't know, if anybody has a chance to go back and listen to the Stefan Rivera podcast where Plan B is talking, just listen to every single time Plan B says that Bitcoin is going to overtake the US dollar. It's like Stefan Rivera just starts cackling like a little schoolgirl, like every single time, like he can't stop it. And Plan B multiple times, like accidentally, he's like, oh no, I mean, and then Stefan's like, ha 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 ha, and I was like, you guys are like really just are you guys have your clothes on right now? Like, what are you guys doing?
Well, the other thing to remember is that the Plan B guy is new. I'm sure he's a quant and he's an analyst and he's done all this work and he's got his education, sure, but he's a new Bitcoiner. Like, he's kind of exhibiting what you're talking about, what we first had. You're like, oh, everything is awesome. Like, everything's going up. I'm going to be a zillionaire. Woo! All this kind of thing. Like, he's still kind of in the middle of that. And not that I think it affects his model, but no doubt it affects how he's going around promoting his model, and that he's even willing to promote his model. Obviously, he thinks that the government's going to come after us and all that. Not after me. I don't have crap, but, they can go after somebody bigger. But...
Well, I'll let you guys go, but I'll leave you with this question. Would you rather go back in time and be Satoshi Nakamoto, or would you rather go back in time and draw a line from Litecoin as $1 to $5 and make yourself rich?
It's a good question. We'll answer it right here. But thanks so much, Crip Loco, for the call. Give us a call
All right, guys, take
anytime.
care.
But yeah, just
Cheers,
listen
dude.
and we'll
Take care.
answer. So Dan, which one would you rather be? Would you rather be Satoshi Nakamoto, or you would rather be like a chart guy who knew that Litecoin was going to like $1 to $100 or wherever it went, so you could kill it?
I think when you say kill it, you don't mean literally kill Litecoin, as in kill it on the trade.
Yeah,
because,
money.
You know, I'm not gonna lie. Being
make the
Satoshi
money.
is probably quite a big like responsibility, and knowing how many people like you've got to be the most wanted person like ever. You know, the most talked about. Who is this? You know, who done it? The modern who done it. So yeah, I think I'd kind of stay clear of trouble, make an absolute mint off of Litecoin like Charlie Lee did, and then sell the top and then quit.
It's a
Oh, no,
a
he's
tough
back
one
working.
because
I think he's back working for him now.
yeah, some people can't stop working. But no, I mean part of it, it's a bit like being Jesus Christ, right? You're like a Prometheus, really. You're delivering fire to the people, like you're giving them what they need, right? So you're a hero. But the other part of it is like Dan saying, you're on the run now. You're always going to be on the run. Satoshi Nakamoto is not out there, at least in my mind, he's not out there buying a Lamborghini. It's really obvious. He's driving around a Lamborghini. It says like, I inv Bitcoin. And you're like, what's the inf mean? Oh, that means invented. I invented Bitcoin. Bitcoin designer, DZGNR. They'll never figure it out. It's just a Lamborghini. But yeah, Satoshi's life is probably not that great. But I also think about what's inside Satoshi. And this is, again, what's inside Jesus. Like, you have to imagine Sisyphus happy, right? He's pushing the rock up the hill. He gets the rock to the top. He takes a deep breath. He feels good about it. The rock rolls back down the hill. That's okay. It just gives him something to do. Satoshi Nakamoto accomplished something here. We were endlessly pushing these rocks up the hill, and they were inflating them, right? We didn't have a schedule for our money. We couldn't say, oh, that money is safe because it's only going to be printed this much at these times. We just printed the money whenever we felt like it, right? We had no idea what was going to happen. You could buy a house. You could have a savings account. The next day, your savings account is worth 10% of what it was. Next day, another 10% goes away. You know, you can't take that many haircuts. So, yeah, I think I'd rather be, I'll go with Satoshi Nakamoto. It would be fun to be on the run. You got to figure he has a little bit of money to aid him with the running. Maybe he has a whole crew of people that he's friends with who also helped invent Bitcoin. That sounds fun. And generally, I think of someone that's accomplished a great big project, like building a space shuttle, and that for 5 years or 10 years or whatever it was, he and his crew were working hard to build this space shuttle, and then they launched it, and then they've had an incredible success with the space shuttle. So as much as I would be on the run and hiding my identity and maybe even having like a fight club, multiple personality and a racing part of it, and like, I never invented Bitcoin. I never did that. I've been sleeping every night. So, but no, I would go with the being Satoshi thing. I don't think there's that much in being rich. I could have been rich a lot of times now, and I don't think it matters that much. It's more, again, and I'm here, you know, getting attacked for my political views and trying to tell people how sad it is that people are going to die from this virus and all that. So I could be on a beach and I could not know any of you, and I wouldn't know anyone in the Bitcoin, and I never would have said anything about it. The craziest thing to me is that Roger Ver, or whoever you want to say, Trace, or whoever it is that you think is rich in this thing, that they're out there talking about it, that they're out there flaunting their wealth, that they're out there basically putting a big sign on their head, you know, come get me, I'm the one. And, you know, if Plan B was worried about it, presumably he's a wealthy man and he invested at least earlier than whatever, you know? So he's worried about it going to 288. What about these guys? What about Trace and Roger? And if they bought it at pennies or dollars or whatever, and now it's 288, yeah, they've got to worry about the government. So I think it's very strange, all the people that speak out about Bitcoin. And I also think it's fun, like kind of like Crip Loco was saying, with the new people. Like, are they crazy rich yet? Well, why are you following that trading guru if he's not crazy rich? Like, all you had to do, you know, buy Ethereum or whatever, or buy crazy altcoin number 7 and sell it at the top. That's all you had to do. Like, you don't have to, all this chart stuff, and you didn't know that was it. Like, that new things go up. I don't know. I would follow someone that posts their trades, someone that has skin in the game. And that's why I follow the Magic 8 Ball. That's right, the Bitcoin Magic 8 Ball right now.
Oh, yeah.
For your viewing pleasure, it's very near the end of the show here. I'm going to predict the price of Bitcoin this time next week. Will the price of Bitcoin be higher this time next week? Here we go. Everyone close your eyes and concentrate. That helps the ball. That helps the ball at home. I can tell at home everyone is concentrating. Look, Dan's got his fingers up. We were thinking about it. You're not supposed to shake the ball, but again, that's how it builds its power. Will the price of Bitcoin be higher this time next week? Yes. Y-E-S. Yes. The ball has spoken. Invest your money. Don't invest your money. This is not investment advice. This is a Magic 8 Ball. But yes, the ball has spoken.
Predicting in 5 days' time. 2 days. Sorry, 7 days' time is going to be higher. So
that's it.
2 days, 5 days.
That's a lot of information. That's a lot of information you didn't have before, and we didn't even have to use an exclamation mark on the top of this show. So
all capital letters.
All capital letters next time. But thanks again to everybody for watching us. Thanks for joining us, giving us a thumbs up or a thumbs down if you want. I don't care. Share the show. Subscribe down below. Hit the bell for notifications. It'll let you know when we do these shows. We try to do them every day at 9 o'clock Pacific time, but we don't always make it. So sometimes it's later, and sometimes we don't make it at all. But you can also check us out on Twitter at Mad Bitcoins or at World CryptoNet or at Cryptopoly for Dan, the Crypto Raptor. And Dan, anything you want to say in closing as we head towards the end of the show?
Yes, just very quickly. So if you haven't already checked it out, I've recently installed LN Bits, which is Ben BTC Socialist's artwork, fine bit of work, and it's amazing. You can create kind of you can do loads like paywalls. You can do like mini pop-up faucets that have only got a one-time only usage or whatever. It's absolutely amazing. So I'm looking at integrating it into my site Reward Portal, which will be kind of launching again soon. I say we're launching again because we've got a new facelift. And we're also looking at adding Satoshis for surveys, so people can go and just earn Satoshis for completing surveys. And then the end goal at the moment, forget about the gigs thing, it's being eradicated. I've taken over the company, and we're unlike Brave, we'll be removing the token and going Bitcoin only, rather than going from Bitcoin to have a token. And actually, part of the reason was because the payment runs are costing a fortune on Ethereum, whereas Lightning, baby. So yeah, get ready, enter the portal.
And Reward Portal is kind of like a Mechanical Turk. Like I do a task online and I get paid in crypto.
Yeah.
And in the same way, if I needed a survey, like I needed to know what kind of people like this kind of business, I could go to Reward Portal and I could pay them to get people to take the survey for me, right?
Yeah. And we've got 6,000. Well, I think 6,000 registered users, but we've only been sort of building up slowly recently, and hoping to relaunch soon with all the Bitcoin bells and whistles.
All right, so check that out at rewardportal.com. You can sign up now. Maybe they'll send you an email when they're ready with the new system. And you can check out.
I couldn't afford the send grid bill, so we're currently terminated. So if you do sign up,
time to get a new email provider or something.
I'm monitoring it, so give me a bit of time, and I'll be manually activating everything.
All right, well, you figure it out. You also can check out LN Bits at lnbits.com, and we have several videos right here on the World Crypto Network that'll teach you how to use LN Bits and how it works. Yeah. Ben has done those videos, BTC Socialist right here. And like you're saying, it really allows you to make a lot of these Lightning apps that you can run in a browser right there. I saw an example of like a point of sale system where, let's say that you had several waitresses. Well, you get all the waitresses to go to the same web page. The web page loads like a little browser, like a little wallet. And the waitress can say, okay, you owe us $15 for those drinks. And they can type in 15. It makes a QR code. The guy there just scans it and pays. And what that means is that the money's not on the waitress's phone. The money's in your server, right? This way, the waitresses can all have these little cash registers, and they can never accidentally take your money. So it's a really great system. It sounds really inexpensive compared to having computer terminals and all these things. So if you wanted to set up an overnight restaurant or just try it out, what will be like to take digital payments. You got to get some Bitcoiners to shop there, some Lightning people, all that kind of thing. But if you can do it, this software is right there, and it's free and it's open source, and you can make anything pretty much. So
it's genuinely amazing, and yeah, kudos to Ben. Absolutely fantastic job.
So yeah, just everyone stick with us. World Crypto Network and the Twitter accounts. We're gonna have a halvening party in just a few days. I hope you guys are getting ready for that. Maybe practicing telling your stories. One of the best moments that I had in crypto is I was getting ready to do one of my proof of work interviews where I asked people about what their first computer was and all that kind of thing. And I was talking to Keto Miner, who created the Nodl, which is a very cool Bitcoin node that you can buy, and just it runs in a box and lets you do all kinds of things. Bitcoin Nodl, Nodl. And I asked him, I kind of told him, I was like, okay, I'm going to ask you about your first computer. I'm going to talk about Bitcoin, just kind of prepare him. And he's like, oh, I'm ready. I watched one of the shows, and when you were asking them the questions, I was asking myself the questions in my mind. Like, he had gamed it out. He was completely ready to talk about his first computer. And it was great the way that the other shows had kind of jogged his memory, and that he had all the information and he was ready to go and what he used it for. And it was super fun. So I like that, and that was super fun to do. So hopefully you guys will be like that on the Bitcoin Halvening show. Right now you'll be like, I got a really good story to tell Thomas. I've worked it out. I've thought about it. I remembered all the details. And I look forward to you guys' stories. I look forward to inviting the audience on here. And again, yes, for the Halvening party, we're going to put the horrible virus aside and all the politics. And I don't know if you guys are capable of doing that, but I can do it. I can compartmentalize. So that's what we're going to do there. And we're just going to talk about Bitcoin. And it's really neat, the animation here. I don't like the colors, but they have spiced it up a little. This guy was running around throwing confetti, and he's been setting off balloons. And it's pretty cool. Shout out to thehavening.com. It's cool stuff. But yeah, we're going to be back in just a few days for the Bitcoin Halvening. We'll try to do the Bitcoin group tomorrow, but I'm already on the clock. I've got to write it and recruit people to be on the show. So time is running out. But thanks so much for joining us. Thanks for giving us a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Hopefully we'll be back again tomorrow, either with this show or with the Bitcoin group, and maybe some more Thomas Hunt show, talk about some pop culture stuff over the weekend. So watch that CPG Gray video. Stay positive. Stay inside. Read a book. Do some stretching. Do some meditation. It just means quiet breathing. You can do it. You don't have to be Buddhist or whatever. It doesn't violate your religion just to breathe quietly. It'll be fine. So I would do that. Check out the sleep stuff. I'll try to put the link to Insight Timer on my Twitter if you're interested. And that's about it. Until next time. Bye-bye.